All right. Look at how good that was switched, by the way. All right, I'm going to get serious now. Has anybody been watching the news lately? No, I'm not talking about what Trump tweets at 3 a.m. I'll be talking about that in the next session. Harassment, sexual assault, Me Too. What do you guys think about all this? This is interactive now. What are you guys thinking about all this?
I don't think it's surprising.
Okay. I don't either. And I know you guys. No, but not that I want to caveat that. I think most people I know try to do the right thing. Whether everybody feels that is a different thing. What else? Anybody else have any thoughts on it? Uh-oh, yeah.
Don't like the comments that come out in the office. Feel they can be addressed pretty easily. It's the physical contact that is where I just things escalate to very specific things.
Okay. What else does anybody else think?
You look nice today and everything comfortable.
If I ever told you my rule on that, does everybody know my rule?
No.
I have a real simple rule. It's going to sound funny, though. That you can comment above the head and below the knees. That's where I can comment. I stay out of trouble. Nice new haircut. Did you get a new haircut? Nice color. No one's going to likely think, unless I'm saying, oh, those are really cute little, earrings or something like that, or like I'm looking a little bit more, but, basically hair and then shoes. Did you get some new shoes? Looks nice. Now, I will give a caveat to the shoe issue. Naughty boots. You cannot comment on naughty boots. And you guys all know what naughty boots are. Those leather ones that come up to the knee, like everybody was like the hottest thing. I call them naughty boots. But I'm not saying you're naughty, by the way. That's why I don't comment on them. But you can't comment on naughty boots. So basically my 10 rule, but I will tell you, I had an interesting conversation with a person. It was a female, actually. And I asked her what she was thinking about this. And her comment was, I always get compliments on my looks. I don't get as many compliments on my work. Now, that challenges a lot, because here's the thing. We all dress to impress, clearly. I mean, look. Yes, thank you. Thank you, yes. So, I mean, we dress to impress. But at the same time, it can get old. And the hard part about that conversation is I don't know when it's old to you. Or anybody. The other thing is, and I will just tell you, if I continuously give you compliments, and Brad Pitt, George Clooney, or whomever gives you compliments, it might be different. Some of you will be like, no, it wouldn't be. Like, I know, I'm close to that, I get it. But it is different. There's that creepy guy that no matter what they did, no matter how nice they would be to you, they creep you out. Think like, and this is with all due respect, Karl Rove creeps me out. You look at him, you think, I'm not saying he is, by the way. I know it's being recorded, I'm all nervous now. But you think child molester, you're a little worried. If he was hanging out with a truck or a van near elementary school, he would be looked at. So there is definitely an issue there. The problem is, and here's the challenge, I will tell you, the key part to all of harassment is culture. Is how you create, how your company creates culture. Sex jokes. Is there some reason that we've always defended sex jokes? They're not that bad. Oh, it was just a little one. I mean, do we say that when somebody says F you to their boss? Oh, it was just one time. Oh, no, but a sex joke. Oh, they're just trying to get to know each other. Because clearly I'm paying them for sex jokes. No. But for some reason, we try to do degrees on those things. Well, so for example, the physical. Physical is much worse than verbally. It is true, it is. But is it? If someone is coming to work and doesn't want to go to work because they get sexually objectified every single day, is that okay? Why? Because they're getting paid to do a job, and something that is not job related is preventing them. So that's why it's HR's duty. And I will tell you, and this is where I'll chastise a little bit of HR. This is a credibility issue. Because what are we hearing from everybody? And they don't want to say it. Well, why didn't they report it? We would have done something. I would have done something. And you know what? Most of you would. But what that means is there is a credibility issue, meaning they don't trust you. They don't think that you will help them. They don't think it's safe. Or they don't think you'll be retaliated against. And those are just the work-related issues, let alone any other issue that they decide that they don't want to come forward on. So the question is, as in the HR world, what are you going to do about it? So I want to ask these questions. So this is what I started off, and actually another attorney from Massachusetts and I have kind of been talking about this going on. Here's the quick question. How do we ensure that leaders don't simply pay for, but attend anti-harassment training and make clear their support for it? Again, by their words and actions. I will tell you, I've done a lot of HR training, and I don't get a lot of C-suite folks. Here's my favorite one. They start there. This is a real important topic, everybody. Let's pay attention. Oh, you know what? I gotta break away. I got a phone call. But you know what? Everybody make sure to focus on this. I'll see you guys later. Everybody listen to this trainer. Really important topic. Walk out. What message does that send? It wasn't important enough. And it isn't. The question is, at what point in time are we going to make it important enough? Now, I'll tell you, most of you probably don't think, well, it's not rampant. I get it. But when are you going to stop and actually do it? Take it seriously. And then commit to create a culture where somebody can actually go there and not feel like they're going to, be ostracized for life. Next question I ask, and I'll tell you, all of these questions, I'm not going to have you answer them. It is something that you need to go home and think about as an HR professional or as a company. What is the best way to assess whether there may be a culture of complicity? And if there are complicit people with power, how do we best incentivize them to do what's right and stand up for what's wrong? Now, I will just tell you, this also makes lawyers look at this too. I look at this now too, differently. Because look, it's kind of like, remember the ADA? We used to win all the time saying, you're not disabled, you're not disabled. Oh, it's not a major life activity, all of those different things. We'd win all the way. They finally passed a law to prevent some of that because we were winning too much. My question is, at what point in time are you going to change and create the culture that allows someone to say, this person propositioned me for sex or sent me a sex joke and I don't appreciate it? And to feel safe doing that, let alone sexual assault. Okay? Those are, frankly, if anybody in here had a sexual assault, they're going to take it seriously, I would hope. If you're calling me, I do. But the question is, do they feel comfortable reporting that it happened? Okay? Next question. Knowing that many women feel harassed and do not bring claims out of fear, how can we create compliant procedures and environment in which employees do not fear retaliation if they raise or support concerns? This is an internal thing for me too. I write those policies. And by the way, if you looked at all of them, they're pretty close to the same. Little definition here. So the question is, why is it not working? Because sometimes you don't want to be that, I don't want to be the crybaby about complaining that Joe's telling a sex joke again. I don't want to be that person. I want to be one of the guys. Well, guess what? Whether it's good or bad, and I think it's mostly good, we're not going that way anymore. Emails and sex jokes, bad. Let alone touching. It's kind of like the hugger. Anybody got one of those? I like huggers. I'm a hugger. I don't hug a lot of people at work. I like Terry. She's a great person. I don't go around hugging her every day. Give me a hug, Terry. Doesn't happen. You know what huggers do? If it's a male hugger, which most of them are. There are female huggers, though. The good-looking women, and grandma. You know why they do grandma? So that they offset that they're not just targeting the women, the young women, or the good-looking women, they think. So I was doing a harassment training, and I had a hugger in my midst. And I asked. We talked about hugging, and he's like, well, I hug everybody. I'm like, all right, sweet. Awesome. So I watched, and I saw he didn't. When he left, you know what I asked him? Can I have a hug? I seriously opened my arms. Can I have a hug? You know what he did? Wouldn't give me a hug. He said he hugged everybody. I felt really bad. And I looked at the HR director and I said, that's the problem. Because every woman knows that too. Because there's a difference on hugging, by the way. Every woman, all the males, sorry, we are not very good at this, but it's true. And whether that's sexist or not, it is what it is. There's a difference between a hug and a hug. If you're getting to second base, it is not a hug. Okay? When you linger for too long, it's not a hug anymore. It's like when you shake a hand and they keep your hand there forever. It's like uncomfortable. And all women know when someone's hugging too long. Most do. So we have to start to address it. Now again, is it the answer? No hugging. Not necessarily. It's having the right culture by which I can say, I don't feel comfortable with that hug right now. And that person saying, okay, and respect, and be done, and move on. I don't want that hug right now. I don't really feel, I don't really feel like it. Okay. Or I don't want that compliment today. You know what? I'm just having a bad day. I don't really want that. You don't even have to explain it. I don't want it. Okay. And then not take offense. Because we always take offense when someone says that to us. Oh my gosh, they think I'm a racist, sexist, harasser. Ooh, bad. The question is, do you have the culture by which you can have the interaction and have the respect? And that's why it's your guys' responsibility. Because you create the culture. Carly Fiorina, who used to run HP, she was at a SHRM event, she said, the HR people are cultural warriors for your organization. They're not just cultural keepers. Warriors, meaning it's an offensive use, meaning you are creating culture. And so you have to create the safe part where people can interact and not feel like they're going to do that. But I'll tell you, we are a long ways away on this. All right. We have other questions there, but I'm going to move into my 5 key principles of the actual practice. So first of all, you have to have a committed and engaged leadership. You have to have consistent and demonstrated accountability. Right now, there is no integrity in your process. They do not believe you're going to do anything. They're not going to believe you're going to handle it. And that's why people don't report it. So we have to then take a look and say, what are we going to do to change that? Next one, you have to have a strong and comprehensive harassment policy. We need a trusted and accessible complaint procedure. And you need a regular, interactive training tailored to the audience in an organization. This isn't just buy your video and get it done. This is separating supervisors from employees and having honest discussions and hard discussions of, if this person said, this person keeps harassing me by asking me out every night, what do I do? And then your supervisor feeling comfortable that they can do something. Or that they can at least make sure the person feels like they've heard me. They're not agreeing necessarily. They're not saying it's harassment, by the way. It's not going to change the legal definition of harassment. But what it will do is create a process by which you have a more effective environment there. All right. What does that include? So I will just tell you, this is the attorney I referenced. He had a great quote. Compliance training is not training to change your mind. It's training to keep your job. Okay? We have to stop you're not letting us be who we are. Because if who you are is a sexual harasser, that's not welcome, period. And we have to be able to say that. So third shift. Everybody knows what third shift's like. Lots of sex talk. I guarantee it. Why is that okay? Oh, it's just third shift. You know, you work third shift, therefore you know it's going to be a lot of sex talk. Oh, I forgot. Is that okay? Does anybody get paid to have sex talk? I don't think there's any sex talk organizations here, right? Nobody's, right? Well, like a sex operator, they call a sex number. No one's here, right? I didn't think we had any. I have them all, the numbers at my house. No, I'm just kidding. just teasing. My wife would kill me. I would. But here's the thing. They're not paid to talk about sex. Are they? And if you can only relate to people by talking about sex, wow. Maybe we need to relate differently. All right. On this thing, so you need to have a live interactive trainer. Live interactive trainer that provides examples, explains unacceptable conduct, not just illegal conduct. So is it unacceptable to send a sex joke? Yes. Is it necessarily harassment by the legal standards? No. Is it okay in your culture? That's what you have to figure out. Because does that promote the kind of culture you want? And maybe it's okay for you. But then you better have a culture that allows people to say, you've crossed the line. And then have that person not think that they're saying, oh, wait, you're saying I'm a harasser? And we have to really start that. Here are some checklists that I'll provide to you about what you need to have done there and how they are done and the specific topics. I will tell you, I have 2 minutes, so I have to hurry. The other thing, this is what the EEOC also suggested, workplace civility training. Oh my gosh, we have to, for those of you that hate like fluffy, like this is fluffy. But I will tell you, what are your HR problems about? These people just don't get along. So my goodness, heaven forbid you actually address it by helping to train people to be civil to each other. Wow. Because right now we could use a little bit of that. The other one that they have actually recommended is bystander intervention training. I know that sounds really weird, like, oh my gosh, I feel like but I'll just tell you right now, being empowered that another employee would step up and support them and make sure that the environment's safe is exactly what you want. Isn't it? Some of you will be like, when you first hear that, you go, oh, no way, I don't want that. And then you think about, don't you want the employee that feels like they're violated to not feel like they're alone? Because then if you're the only one that's going to make them not feel alone, wouldn't it be great if they had someone else help, not, by the way, when I say that, intervene to make sure the situation doesn't escalate. Say, I don't really appreciate it. Let's knock off this talk and move on.